emotions. Breathing and controlling the emotions is very important. Have you ever been really angry and somebody says to you, just take a breath, would you? And what happens? You take that breath and the emotional energy kind of dissipates so that you're not quite so angry. With our kids even, we'll have them take a break in the corner. And if you told them to breathe, they would get feeling better much faster because they're breathing off that negative emotional energy. Breathing is so important for controlling our emotions. If you're out there in bad traffic getting road rage, take a big deep breath and it will clear that road rage. It's very interesting how powerful it is. Our emotions, the emotional energy is some of the most powerful energy that flows through our body. And if you learn how to control that with your breathing, it's very powerful to help you manifest. It's powerful to help you get through any kind of condition. When I used to be taking tests, even when I was in medical school, if I got perplexed about a question, I'd just go and I'd look at the question, holding my breath, and boom, I'd have the right answer come to me in my mind. Okay? The breathing controlled the energy, and it helped me clear my mind enough that I knew the right answer. It was very interesting. I got very good at taking tests just by breathing through the test. And you're going to school, so it's very important to, instead of getting, a lot of people, they just sit there and they just don't hardly breathe at all, and they just sit and, pound themselves. And if you just stop and take a big deep breath, and the reason I hold it is when you hold the breath, that's when the energy enters in. They found that the knowledge, the energy, the power comes in while you're at the top of the breath holding it. And it's best to breathe in through the nose and hold it. Hold it at least 5 to 10 seconds and then release it. And when you release it, always release any negative energy that may be build up in your body. And when you breathe in, bring in that pure, good energy. That's your intent. So breathing with intent is so important because your intent always with your breath is to bring in good energy. A lot of us don't even think what we're bringing in. We just think, I don't even think we think about breathing. It's just kind of automatic, and we just very shallowly go through our life, not creating things with our breathing. So with the emotions, especially anger, you need to take in the breath. When you recognize you're in a negative emotion, something that's not serving you or those around you, you need to stop and take a big deep breath and have the intent to get rid of that emotion, and then when you breathe out, release it. You'll find that you get mad less, you'll have fewer problems with your kids if you control your breath. You can even change the whole nature of the energy around you that's affecting that person that may be making them angry or maybe reflecting back on you. Just take it and reflect back to them. If you're angry, reflect back love or calmness or peace, whatever it is you really want in your life, and you'll find you don't get affected by these bad emotions so much. But you have to recognize when you're in a bad emotion, breathe in, have the intent to get rid of that emotion and replace it with something good, and then breathe out. Now, something very important, I went to Peru for a couple of reasons. One, I'd never been there, and I wanted to visit all the ruins down there and all the spiritual sites. And number two, I was told by a psychic I would be able to clear everything out of my body down there, and I'd bring back a gift for everyone who I teach. And it was really fascinating. I was wondering, well, what am I going to learn? What's going to happen to me? And when we got there, we basically went to all the spiritual sites, went through some rituals, through some different healings, and we ended up going with the Heart Walk Foundation up to a little town that was 13,000 feet elevation up high in the Andes. And there was a lot of, they had actually built a school house there, out of adobe, so it was out of, the mud and everything. But these little kids, it was amazing. The adults the town had doubled in size since they had built this schoolroom, because parents wanted their kids to be taught. And a lot of them had never been to school, never had teachers. So these little kids, the school had been there for 2 years, and they didn't have any bathrooms. So our purpose, our intent was to go down and put a couple of bathrooms in down there. So we arrived in Peru, and we, do our thing for a couple of days, and then we went up to this high city, and we took a couple of toilets and plumbing and the tiles and everything to complete the bathrooms. And the men there had actually built the rudimentary walls and didn't have the ceilings yet, but we took and helped them finish up these 2 little bathrooms for these little kids, because they'd have to go out in the field and do their potty, and they didn't have any water or anything to wash their hands with. So, it was a really good thing to do. And it was so interesting because most everybody, they had a little party for us, and everybody was dancing around, and a lot of people couldn't get their breath because we were up 13,000 feet. It was the highest I'd ever been. And it was really interesting because I practiced breathing all the time. All the time I practiced breathing. I'll take a deep breath and hold it. And I was the only one that didn't get altitude sickness. And I was the only one that kept up with these little kids without getting tired. It was very interesting because I'd been practicing my breathing. And so, everybody was looking at me like, how come you're not tired? I'm like, well, because I know how to breathe. So it helps a lot of things. But anyway, getting back to the breathing, I'm going to turn this off for a sec.